Hello and welcome to Hexed Encounter on the Legends Board channel. I'm Joe. Today we will be doing the fifth and final part of our Down in Flames Locked On playthrough. This game is published by Dan Verssen Games, and we are playing the 1973 Yom Kippur War campaign. This will be mission number 6, the last mission in the campaign. It is called Numerous SA-7 Sites, and our forces that will be fighting each other will be 2 F-4E Phantom II aircraft for the Israeli side, which I will be playing, and 2 MiG-21PF Fishbed for the Egyptian side, which we will be using the solo system to play. The Egyptians also possess 2 SA-7 surface-to-air missile sites. Those will be in effect if the aircraft is at low altitude at any range, and at medium altitude if at gun, heat-seeking, or radar homing range. So this is an interesting mission, the most complex and difficult of the ones we have played so far. So the aircraft themselves are fairly well matched. The F-4E Phantom II, American-built heavy fighter, has an advantage in that it has a better EW score of 1-0. It also possesses 8 missiles, 4 AIM-7E Sparrow radar homing missiles, as well as 4 AIM-9E Sidewinder heat-seeking missiles. The MiG-21 Fishbed has the same performance and thrust ratings, both for with and without afterburners, as the Phantom does. So performance-wise, they're very even. It does not possess a gun rating. The speed ratings are identical at 2. The Phantom has a 1 gun rating. The MiG-21 does not possess a gun. It is a missile-only aircraft. It carries 2 heat-seeking AA-2A missiles, and it has an EW, as I already mentioned, of 0. So looking at our skills for this mission, for the Israelis, they have Focused, and Focused says draw 1 card every time enemy pilot adjusts their own range. They also have Cocky, and Cocky says when firing 2 missiles from 1 tone, gain +1 mini hand, so that would be the missile hand. For the Egyptians, we have Veteran, which is increase 2 aircraft ratings by a total of 2. So 1 and 1 or 1 by 2, I guess, would be the answer there. And the other one is Tiger. And Tiger is add Tone Strong plus Ace Pilot to your hand after drawing on turn 1. So the problem with Tiger is that we don't have specific cards for the solo bot's hand, and if you've been watching the previous videos, you already know this. So what I will do to account for that is the first time the AI aircraft number 4 draws or is in a situation where it needs a card to play to counter something important like a tone, I will employ my quote-unquote ace pilot card to take care of that. And the first time they get a missile, an opportunity for a missile, I will give them a Tone Strong automatically. So that would account for them having those 2 cards. As far as the Veteran skill for aircraft number 3, which is MiG-21 number 1, this guy right here, we will give him an EW rating of 1, so that he matches the Phantoms. And I will give him a speed rating of 3 so that he gets a free maneuvering each turn. Or yeah, that's what I'll do. So 1 for EW and 1 for speed. So he is actually going to be able to use an extra advantageous maneuver there before his turn in each round. So, as I've been doing before, I have my aircraft here. These are chits that should be on the cards indicating which aircraft is which, but I just go 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't play with the optional rule where we go one side, then the other side. I'll go based on EW. So, essentially, we're going to go aircraft 1, 2, 3, and then 4. So, the Israelis will go back to back, and then the Egyptians will go back to back. I will use these chits to show positioning. So that would be the Israeli jet in an advantaged position over the Egyptian, and so forth. So I've already dealt out the cards. Each aircraft gets 6 to begin. So here's our die for use with the AI mode. Okay, aircraft 1 goes first, has 6 cards in its hand. Actually, no, I need to roll for altitude first for the AI. So a 10 means they go too high. Aircraft 4 rolled a 2, so they go low. Okay. Now we go with aircraft 1's cards here. So what we need, we have an ace pilot, so that's nice. We're going to use a barrel roll for range to try to get to radar homing. And we're operating against aircraft number 3. So he rolls a 5 plus 6 is 11. He rolls a 7. A 7 against maneuvering is a barrel roll. So he will play a barrel roll against my barrel roll. I will play a yo-yo to counter that. He rolls a 2 plus his 5 remaining cards is only a 7, so he cannot counter my yo-yo. And I close to radar homing. Now I will play a tone card, because at neutral and radar homing range, I can fire an AIM-7E Sparrow, okay? And I have 4 of them, so why not? So we are firing Fox 1, 8 plus his 5 is 13, so he is going to try to counter the tone. He rolls an 8 again. An 8 against tone is a break, so he plays a break. I draw 2 cards for my miss. Oh no, I'm sorry. He plays a break against the tone. I will play a scissors to counter his break. He rolls a 5 plus 4 is 9, so he is good there. And a 2. A 2 against scissors is a scissors. So he's going to play a scissors. I'm going to play ace pilot. I'm gonna get this missile off against this guy. He rolls a 10 plus 3 is 13. And then he rolls an 8. So an 8 against ace pilot is ace pilot. Okay, so he has aced my ace. And now I'm going to end my turn because that is all I can do. So I'm going to take my 2 cards, and that is the end of aircraft 1's turn. Okay, now we have aircraft number 2 operating against aircraft number 4. So the first thing we will do is play a break for 2 range. He rolls a 3, he has 6, that's 9. Then he rolls a 9, which is red line. Actually, no, against maneuvering, that's nothing. So he can't play against that. So I close to heat-seeking range. Okay. Now to fire a heat-seeking missile, I have to get on his tail because the AIM-9 is only effective from a tailing position. So we will play... what are we going to play? I'm actually going to play a tone steady and fire a radar, an AIM-7. So we're playing against tone. He rolls an 8. He still has 6. That's 14. And he rolls a 2. A 2 against a tone is going to be a break. So he plays a break. I will play a barrel roll against his break. And then he rolls a 4. He's got 5 left, so that's 9. And he rolls a 6. A 6 against a barrel roll is a barrel roll. So I will play another barrel roll against his barrel roll. Now he rolls a 2, and he's only got Wait, he's got 4 plus 2 is 6, so he can't evade it. That's going to be a good tone. And our missile is going to be launched. So we will flip this guy over, showing we've used a missile. We will draw 2 cards. That was a tone steady, wasn't it? I believe it was. Yeah, so he gets an extra card. So the missile gets 3 cards. All right, so now he rolls against the missile. He gets 2 plus 2 bonus plus 4 is only 8. So he's going to have to use his countermeasure to defeat the missile. Okay, so that will end that. And that will end my turn. I will draw my 2 cards for aircraft number 2. I did not use my cocky skill to fire 2 missiles from 1 tone. I should have in hindsight, but too late now. I'll need to remember that for next time. All right, so we move on to aircraft 3. He gets 2 cards to go to well, let's check to see if he turns his afterburners on, because he's only got 2, and he can draw 4 if he goes with afterburners. So he's got 2 cards. He's got two afterburner uses left. He needs a 7. So he gets a +1 for 2 cards and +2 for having 2 afterburner uses left. So that would give him 3. So he needs a 4 or better. And he rolls a 2. So he does not use his afterburners, and he goes to 4 cards. So he's at 4 cards. Now we'll roll for altitude. He rolled an 8. He's already at high, so that's no change. And we roll a 1, and he's only got 4 cards. So that's going to actually end his turn because he's not going to be able to do anything. So he will draw his 2 cards to get back to his full complement of 6. I actually forgot to use his free maneuver, so I'll do that right now. And we will adjust his range to radar homing. And I won't counter that. So that will be the end of his turn. We will now go to aircraft 4. Aircraft 4 has 4 cards, so with his 2, he gets 6. So we won't even check for afterburners. He rolled a 6, which is no change for altitude. Then he rolls a 2 plus 6 is 8. So he can adjust or improve his range by 1 or improve his altitude. So we're going to move his altitude up 1. And I just realized I screwed up. I should not have been able to fire my missile at him because with his range being low and my range being high, that's a difference of 2. I was actually at active homing distance from him. So that would have been no good. He's also at active homing anyway. So in fact, I should not have been able to fire my missiles. So yet another mistake. So something to note if you've not played the game before or you're learning is to remember to check the range, and you always use the furthest one. So if this guy's at radar homing and aircraft 3 is, or 4 rather, is at active homing, the range is active homing. And you also need to account for altitude differences. All right, so we will now roll again. Oh, he used a card. And he climbed, and when you climb, you discard a card. So he loses a second card. So he's got 4 cards left. He rolls a 10. A 10 plus 4 is 14, so that's going to let him adjust his range or position by 2. So it's to his advantage to get to heat-seeking range against Phantom 2 because he only has heat-seeking. That's literally the only weapon he has. So he's going to attempt to get to heat-seeking range. So he's playing a maneuver card. So we'll put that down. And we'll see if I have something that can counter a maneuver, which I do not. So he successfully moves to heat-seeking range. And we roll again. He rolls a 9. He's got 3 cards left. That's 12. And again, he can improve his position by 2. So now he's going to go for flipping me to tailed. And because I don't have anything that can counter maneuvering, that's also going to be successful. So he plays a card for that as well. And now he's in his missile envelope. Oh, wait, no, he's not. He needs to climb 1 more level. So we'll roll again. He rolls a 7 plus 2 is 9, and that will let him climb to high, but he's out of cards because he has to spend one for the climb and one for the altitude change. So he will draw his 2 cards and end the turn, but now he's in a good position for next turn, unless I can flip the tables on him here. So that was the end of the first round. I'm going to use these extra tokens here to show what we are. We're in turn 2 now, round 2. Okay, so we go back to the first jet here. I'm actually going to turn my afterburners on, and well, no, I've got 3. I'm just going to draw 2. So I'm going to draw 2. I am not going to adjust my altitude. I want this fight at high so I don't have to deal with the surface-to-air missile sights. So our 5 cards, we are at altitude high, range radar homing with aircraft 3. They are also high in radar homing, so I am within my envelope if I wish to fire. I actually have a guns card I could play. So if I play break for range, you know what? I'm gonna fire off a missile, and it's a legit firing this time. So it's a tone card. I will draw 2 again if this is successful. So he rolls a 9. So he is going to try to counter. He has 6 cards. He has a 7. A 7 against a tone card is a break. So he plays a break. I will counter his break with one of my own. Yeah, I will counter that with one of my own. This time he rolls a 3. He's only got 5 cards left, so he cannot counter that one. So the missile is now in the air. It draws 2 cards. Now we roll again. He's got 5 plus 2 plus 5 is more than enough. And then he rolls a 1 against a missile. A 1 against a missile is a break. So he plays a break. The missile counters with a break of its own. So now he's trying to counter the break. He rolls a 10. That's ace pilot. That's going to be it because the missile cannot counter ace pilot. So we've now launched a missile and missed here as well. I am going to play this scissors card for range and try to close to heat-seeking range. So he rolls a 9. He can counter. And he rolls a 2 against maneuvering 2 is a break. So I do not have anything that can counter a break, so my turn is over. So I will draw my 2. That's the end of that aircraft's turn. We move to aircraft number 2. We draw our 2 cards. Okay, so aircraft 2 situation. He's at high altitude and heat-seeking range. His opponent is also at high altitude and heat-seeking range. Oh, we drew an ace pilot. Okay, aircraft 2 is tailed, so it needs to take care of that, fix that situation. So what we are going to do is I'm actually going to play ace pilot, and I'm going to try to flip this around so that I'm tailing him. So we will see if he can counter this. So he rolls a 4. He's only got 2 cards, so he cannot counter that. So we have now flipped this on him, and I am on his tail. And now I'm going to play... I need to fix that, sorry. I've only fired 1 missile. I'm going to play my tone steady. And I'm going to fire a heat seeker at him. Because I am tailing... Actually, no, I'm not... yeah, I am going to fire a heat seeker at him. So he will roll against this. So 2 plus 2 is only a 4, so he can't counter the tone. He no longer has countermeasures. So the aim 9 gets 4 because that was a tone steady. Now we roll again. He rolled a 1 plus 2 is only a 5, so he actually gets shot down because he cannot counter my heat seeker. So my Fox 2 knocks him out of the sky and ends ends his turn. So he gets shot down. And now we will go to taking on aircraft number 3, who is at neutral. But we are at he's at radar homing. I do have another tone card, so I'm going to fire one of my heat seekers at aircraft number 3. He has 2 cards. Rolled a 5. Plus 2 is 7, so the tone is successful. Now he does have a countermeasure left. So we are firing our aim 7. Now we'll see if he can counter it with a card. He drew a 2. He rolled a 2. Plus 2 is only 6, but he has countermeasure. So he will use his countermeasure to stay alive. So we made him burn his countermeasure. And I am going to... I think I'm going to end my turn. It's tempting to try and close in and see what I can do, but I'm going to... It's okay, so we're going to roll now for afterburners for this guy here. So we can draw 4. He's got 2 cards, so he gets a +1, and he still has both afterburner uses, so that gets another +2, so he needs a 4. And he rolls an 8, so he is going to turn his afterburners on, which is going to make him vulnerable to heat seekers, but he's at radar homing range right now, so that's not a big deal unless I can pull him into heat seeker range. Okay, so his heat seekers are on, his afterburner rather is on. We're drawing 4 cards for him, so he's back to 6 cards. Now we'll roll for altitude. He rolled a 10, which would be climb, which is nothing. We roll a 2 plus 6 is 8. That lets him adjust his position or range by 1 or altitude by 1. He's going to attempt to get to heat-seeking range. And he's operating against aircraft 2 because 2 is at heat-seeking range. So we will see if 2 can counter maneuvering, and he can. So he's going to play a barrel roll. So he played a card. And we countered with a barrel roll. He rolls a 7. He's got 5 left, so he can counter the barrel roll with a 6. A 6 barrel roll is a barrel roll, so he plays his own barrel roll. And we will counter that barrel roll with a yo-yo. So he rolls a 1 against a yo-yo with 4 cards. That's not enough, so... he does not successfully get to heat-seeking range. Although, once again, I did forget to account for his speed advantage, which would have given him a maneuver to get to range. So I don't know that I have anything else that can counter a maneuver, and I don't. So I'm going to actually give him heat-seeking range anyway. And he's got 4 cards left, and we will roll, and we get a 2. Plus 4 is 6, so that's not enough, and he's going to end his turn and draw 2 cards. Now, he would be able to draw 4, but he's already got 4, so his performance is 6. He's capped at 6. So now we go to turn number 3. Turn number 3, aircraft number 1 draws 2 cards to get back to 6. Now he is at radar homing range. The MiG-21 is at heat-seeking range. I am going to try to close to heat-seeking range. So I will play a barrel roll for one positioning. He rolled a 1 with his 6 cards. That's not enough to counter it. So we close to heat-seeking range. Now I have to see if I can improve my position to get on his tail. So I will play red line for positioning. He rolls a 4 with his 6 cards is 10. And then he rolls a 5. A 5 against maneuvering is actually nothing, so he's unable to counter that. Cannot counter my red line. So now I am tailing him. I'm going to do that just to note that These two are neutral to each other, and aircraft 1 is tailing. So I have a tone card, which I will play. So I will get 4 cards if this tone is successful. And he's already burned his countermeasure. So he rolls a 1. Plus 6 is only a 7. That means he cannot break tone. So I do get a missile launch. So we are launching a Sidewinder. We draw 4 cards. And then he rolls here. So he got an 8 plus his 2 plus 6 cards is way more than enough. Then he rolls a 6 against the missile. So a 6 against a missile card is a barrel roll. The missile has actually nothing that can counter that. So he successfully dodges that bullet. He successfully dodges the bullet there. So I am now going to play a yo-yo for range and get to gun range, to try to get to gun range. So I roll a 5. He's got 5 cards left, so that's 10. And then he rolls a 10, which is ace pilot, so that's going to be the end of that. But I still have... I'm going to play break for range now, see if I can get... I'm going to use both to try to pull us both into gun range. So he rolls an 8, so he can try to counter. He's got 4 cards left, and he rolls another 10. All right, so apparently I am not going to get in gun range. And I am going to draw 2 cards and end my turn. We now go to aircraft number 2. He will draw 2 cards. So he is at heat-seeking range, and they are facing each other, or rather neutral to each other. So we will play... wow. I'm going to play a yo-yo for... actually, we're neutral to each other. I do have a tone steady card. I'm going to play my tone steady card and fire, I don't know, a 2 plus 3 is 5, so he doesn't break tone. So we have tone. We draw 2 cards for our missile. That's the end of that one. A 5 plus 2 plus 3 is 10. And a 5. A 5 against a missile card is a barrel roll. The missile cannot counter that. So he lives to fight another day. I'm going to fire my last missile. It's just going to get one card because this is a tone weak. So he rolls an 8, so he's going to try to counter the tone. He rolled a 1. So a 1 against tone is a break, which I'm pretty sure I can't counter. Oh wait, yes I can. I'm going to counter with a yo-yo. He rolls a 4 with 2, so he can't counter my yo-yo. So we are firing our last Sparrow. Gets 1 card. He rolls an 8, so he is going to be able to counter. And then a 5. A 5 against missile, again, is a barrel roll, so he plays that. The missile does not have a card. It has vertical roll. It cannot counter barrel roll, so that is the end of the turn, and I no longer have any radar homing missiles, so I'm down to heat seekers now. Draw my 2 cards. And that is the end of that. So that he used his afterburners. So now he has 1 card, so he's probably going to try and get an afterburner again. So he gets +2 for that and +1, so he still needs a 4. And he rolled an 8, so he's turning his afterburners on again, and he's going to draw 4 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4. So he's drawn 4 cards. He has 5. Now he is disadvantaged to aircraft 1. They're all at high altitude and heat-seeking range. He's neutral with aircraft 2. So we will roll and see what we can do here. So we have a 2 plus 6 is 8. That allows him to do basically one adjustment. So we will play for positioning against aircraft number 2 to try to get to an advantaged position and then work on getting into a tailing position. So he's playing a maneuvering. I do have something to counter that with. I play a break. He plays that. So 5 plus 5 is 10, plus 3. So 3 against a break is a break. And I don't think I can counter the break. Well, yes, I can. I'll play scissors. And I have he rolled a 7, so he's got 11. And a 2 against scissors is a scissors. And I don't have anything to counter that, so he gets me in an advantaged position. So he rolls a 3, plus 3 is only 6, so he's done for his turn, and he draws 2 cards. All right, so now we go to turn number 4, round 4. I have 3 cards. And I'm going to draw just 2. I'm just going to draw 2. I won't turn my afterburners on. I don't want to give them any advantage if I can avoid it. Okay, so I am still tailing him. And if I can get him into gun range... So I'm going to play a yo-yo to get him into gun range. So a 5. And he's got 5 cards, so that's 10. But he rolls a 1 against maneuvering as a break. So he played a break. And I will play a break in reaction to his break. He rolls a 10, so he can roll for it. And he rolls a 9. 9 against a break is a red line, I believe. No, it's a yo-yo. So he plays a yo-yo and he avoids me getting into gun range. So with that, I am actually going to end my turn and draw 2 cards. So now we go to aircraft 2. He is going to, I'm going to turn his afterburners on. We're going to draw 4. Drawing 4 cards. Okay, he is disadvantaged currently. And we don't have what we would need to get to. So I'm going to actually play my split S for positioning to try to get advantaged on him. So he rolls a 7. He's still got 3 cards, so that's good enough. Now he rolls a 3. So a 3 against a maneuvering is a break. So he plays a break. I will counter his break with a yo-yo. He rolls a 3. He can't counter my yo-yo. So we're now back to being neutral, which I guess is that. And now I will play another yo-yo to get... Actually, I'm going to play red line for positioning to get on his tail. Or... yeah, I'll play red line for positioning to get on his tail. 4. So he's only got 2, so he can't counter my red line. So we are now tailing him. And now I will play man, I'm not at gun range and I really can't get to gun range. I'm going to play guns jinking just to see if I can get into gun range. He rolls a 2, so he can't counter that, so that pulls me to gun range. And then I'm going to play yo-yo to see if I can pull him to gun range. Rolls a 6, he still only has 2, so he is now pulled to gun range as well. And then, because I don't have enough cards to discard, I am going to end my turn. And I turned my afterburners on, so I draw 4 cards. Okay. So that means it's his turn. He draws, his afterburners are done. He draws 2 cards. And I'm going to have to shuffle here momentarily, going through the whole deck here. All right, so looking at his deck, it doesn't matter. He can't put his afterburners on because he's done. So we're going to check for altitude change. He rolls an 8, so nothing. And actually, since we're in his envelope now, it wouldn't make sense for him. Well, actually, we're not in his envelope because he has to roll. He has to position himself. So he rolled, that was a 9. So he rolls a 9 plus 4 is 13. So that's an improved position by 2, which we obviously will want to do because he's tailed by both aircraft. But aircraft 2 has its afterburners on, so he's going to try to get to neutral with aircraft number 3 on this roll, or rather that maneuver. So I need to see if I have a maneuvering counter, which I do. I'm going to play barrel roll. So he rolls a 3 plus 4 is actually he's only got 3 cards because he played 1, so he's only got a 6. So with a 6 he can't do anything else, and he's going to draw. So I have to shuffle. I have to shuffle. End this already. All right. So his turn's over. We're going to draw 2 cards. He's back at 5. That is now round number 5. Okay. We have 5 cards we draw. Well, let's see. Do I want to ditch any of these? I'm going to ditch one of these gun cards and draw 2. And I drew another guns card. That's the way it always works out. All right. So we don't have a tone. I'm going to play a break for 2. I'm going to play a break to pull myself into range. Yeah. Rolled a 6. He's got, what, 6 cards? 5 cards. So that's an 11. And then he rolls a 9. A 9 against maneuvering is nothing, so he fails to stop me from getting to gun range. Okay, so now that I'm at gun range, I've got guns good angle, so I'm going to... we are tailing, so I don't have to discard any cards. So I'm going to play guns good angle. And we'll see if he can counter the guns. He rolls a 4 with his 5 and plus 2, so that's 11. He's got enough. He rolls an ace pilot. This dude is killing me, man. All right, so he threw down the ace pilot, which I cannot counter. Okay, so I'm going to throw another guns card down. And this one I am tailing, so I have to discard an additional card. I will discard my split S, I guess. All right, so he's rolling against guns again. He's got 4 cards plus his 2 bonus. He only needs a 3, and he rolled a 2. 2 plus 4 is 6, plus 2 more is 8. That's not enough. He is shot down by guns. And that, my friends, as they say, is that. That is the end of the game. So we end up taking 114 victory points for winning that mission by shooting down both MiG-21s. The Egyptians get 0. And that, added to what we did before, puts us in the operational victory range. So the only mission in this series where we didn't really do particularly well was mission number 2. The low on fuel, where we didn't have any ability to use our afterburners, and we ended up each side shot down 1 aircraft. So that will do it for this series on Down in Flames Locked On from Dan Verssen Games. This was a very good campaign. I'm actually tempted to move on and play something else, perhaps the Vietnam campaign or India, Pakistan. Looks like it might be an interesting one. The Korean War, where you have to get in gun range to do some stuff. That sounds pretty interesting as well. In fact, all of them do. There's also Desert Storm. There's also the Falklands. The Falklands would probably be kind of fun as well. All of the campaigns in this game, all 6, seem pretty interesting, and there are some cards available on Board Game Geek, some of the more modern stuff, your F-35, etc., that you can download. You can also create your own missions, your own campaigns. There's stuff on that in the book, in the rules book. So I would advise, if you're interested in doing that kind of stuff, to definitely check it out. But that is going to wrap it up for this episode. As always, thank you for watching. Please consider liking the video, sharing it, and subscribing. I would appreciate it if you could consider subscribing. So that will do it for this episode of Hexed Encountered on the Legend Sport channel. I'm Joe. Thank you and happy gaming.